The Snowman. Emma hated winter, but she couldn't deny the charm of her new home in the countryside. The fresh snow blanketed everything, and the silence of the forest was oddly soothing. After years in the city, the stillness felt like a welcome change. One evening, after a heavy snowfall, Emma noticed a snowman standing in the clearing outside her house. She hadn't built it, and there were no children around for miles. The snowman was simple, 3 uneven spheres of snow, with stones for eyes and twigs for arms. Its crooked stick mouth curved into a grin that made her uneasy. Shrugging it off as some neighbor's harmless joke, Emma went inside. That night, she woke to a strange sound. It was faint but distinct, like the crunch of footsteps in the snow. She sat up, her breath visible in the cold room. Slowly, she crept to the window and peered outside. The snowman was closer. It now stood halfway between the clearing and her porch. The stones of its eyes seemed darker, and its crooked grin was wider. Emma's heart raced. She locked the door and tried to convince herself it was just her imagination. Maybe the wind had pushed it. Maybe she hadn't noticed how close it was earlier. But the unease lingered. The next morning, Emma stepped outside, determined to prove it was just a harmless prank. The snowman was gone. She scanned the clearing, but there was no trace of it, not even a melted pile of snow. Shaking her head, Emma went about her day. But as night fell, the uneasy feeling returned. She triple-checked the locks and closed all the curtains before going to bed. At midnight, she woke again. This time, the sound wasn't footsteps, it was knocking. Her blood ran cold. The knock came again, louder this time. It was coming from the front door. Emma grabbed her phone, but there was no signal. Slowly, she crept toward the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. She exhaled shakily and turned away. Then she heard it, a low scraping sound, like twigs dragging against the window. Emma froze, her heart pounding. She turned to the living room window and cautiously pulled back the curtain. The snowman was there. It stood just outside the glass, its stick arms pressed against the pane. Its grin was impossibly wide now, the stones of its eyes glinting like coal. "Go away!" Emma screamed, backing into the corner. The snowman didn't move. The scraping sound grew louder, filling the room. It wasn't coming from the window anymore. It was coming from inside the house. Emma's scream echoed into the night, but no one heard her. The next morning, the neighbors found her house empty. The front door hung open, and fresh snow covered the floors. Out in the clearing stood a new snowman. Its eyes were darker than coal, and its stick arms held a scarf Emma used to wear. Chilled by this tale? Don't forget to like, comment, and follow for more terrifying stories. What's the creepiest thing you've ever seen outside your window? Tell me below.